House Speaker Anthony Rota says he is stepping down from his post after numerous calls to resign. This follows his House of Commons invitation and celebration of a former officer with the Nazis during the Second World War. Jason Guidola joins us live tonight with the very latest. Jason.
Yeah, that's right, Taz. Since the ex-officer attended Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelenskyy's visit at the Hill last Friday, the invitation has sparked plenty of international blowback and ongoing calls on the home front to address connections to Nazis coming to Canada.
It's with a heavy heart that I rise to inform members of my resignation as Speaker of the House of Commons.
After publicly honoring a former Nazi officer and mounting pressure to quit, Anthony Rota is walking away from the West Block chamber.
I reiterate my profound regret for my error in recognizing an individual in the House during the joint address to Parliament of President Zelenskyy.
Last Friday, during Volodymyr Zelenskyy's visit, Rota invited and introduced to parliamentarians 98-year-old Yaroslav Hunka, who received a standing ovation from the House. Rota took responsibility for the invite, and the calls for the Liberal MP to resign included ministers from the Trudeau government.
Like I mentioned, this was an embarrassment for to Canadians. It was completely unacceptable.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau echoed a similar statement, and Trudeau's office says it was not involved with vetting the Ukrainian veteran. Rota called Hunka a hero fighting Russians in the Second World War. However, it was later publicized that the division he belonged to was the 14th Waffen-SS, voluntary troops with Nazi Germany.
No doubt, Speaker Rota was let down by his own staff. He apologized, and I think he did the right thing by resigning.
CEO of B'nai B'rith Canada, Michael MOSTYN, says the uncovering of Hunka's past should highlight Nazi immigration to Canada. He says his organization has repeatedly asked for Canadian war records.
We believe on the shoulders of the Prime Minister to step forward, to show leadership, and to ensure that this matter is not just brushed aside, but to ensure that every Canadian understands the true history of this country, what took place, and that includes the fact that Nazis were admitted.
On the home front in Oakville is a monument commemorating Ukrainian freedom at St. Volodymyr's Cemetery. At the top and in around the surrounding tombstones shows an emblem appearing to be the same one representing Hunka's unit. Halton police even investigated vandalism at the site back in 2020 and confirmed its Nazi ties.
You know, they're allowed to put a memorial to their fallen soldiers, and because there's so much murky history around this division, there aren't any specific Nazi symbols. But there's also no explanation as to what this memorial is for. If you look into the history, it's clear that they did fight for the Nazis against the Russians, and that there's also evidence of persecution and murder of Jews in Ukraine by this division.
Halton Rabbi Stephen Wise says he met with church and cemetery representatives about the monument back in 2019 and says a modification to highlight the Waffen-SS's history would come to the site.
When COVID hit, all these conversations stopped, and sadly, while they said they were going to proceed with getting information and making this plaque, I haven't heard anything since.
CHCH News reached out to the West Oak Memorial Gardens inquiring about the monument's history and have yet to hear back.
And today, the Polish education minister announced steps have been taken to initiate the extradition of Hunka to Poland for possible war crimes. And shifting back to Parliament Hill, Anthony Rota says his resignation will come into effect at the end of sitting day tomorrow.